Hey, hello, welcome again, City Heroes Video Tours. This particular video, we're going to be focusing on something that you might have heard of but never really used, and it's called the LFG teleport trick, or LFG transport system, or LFG warp. Basically, it's using the LFG tab here to move around in the game. And this is WAI from live and now on Homecoming, so have no fear about that. Basically, this lets you get from zone to zone to zone for the most part, with some exceptions, throughout the game. This way, if your long-range teleporter is down or you can't get to your base, you could possibly LFG to where you need to be. There are some exceptions to this, though. This does not work if you're on Ouroboros mode, Architect mode, or Task Force mode. If you use this during those modes, you will be kicked out of those modes, and you'll have to start those all over again, so you don't want to do that. And this does work solo or as a team. So we're going to show you how it's done. It's real simple. First, you want to make sure you have the lock here toggled. You do need that for quicker functionality. And we'll start off here with the trial tab. Now, some of the options here have to be unlocked by doing previous missions, like Cavern of Transcendence. You got to do the Hollows Chapter 4 Story Arc Blue Side to get this unlocked. But let's say I want to go to the Hollows. Select it, lock, Q. How about that? Now I'm in the Hollows. Let's deselect that. Let's say I want to get to Nerva Archipelago. Okay. That's red side. So let's take Tree of Thorns number 1. And this will put me in the southeast area of Nerva. There it is. Let's say I want to go a little bit more north to Nerva. Tree of Thorns number 2. Number 3 puts you here in the southwest. But north is right up here. Now, let's say I want to get to Atlas Park. You're going to tell me, well, there's no task force in Atlas Park. Well, you're right, but there is a trial. Descent to the Hydra, also known as the Abandoned Sewer Trial. If you don't lock the event, it's going to take a lot longer for the green button to appear. And if you're on a team, everyone must hit the green button. No one should be in the act of alting or zoning, because that just throws us all off. But again, if you're doing this as a task force or a strike force or an Ouroboros mode or architect mode, this will take you out of all those. So this is basically to get to where you need to be to start an event for yourself or your team. Let's say you want to get to the Eden zone, especially to run the Eden trial. Okay, now we're in Eden. And let's see here. Let's say I want to get to Callisti Wharf. Market crash. And we're off. Ta-da! Let's see here. And let's see now. Let's say you want to go to the new Labyrinth of Fog. You have to have this unlocked. Basically 35 plus with access to Midnighter Club. Easily obtained. There's the entrance to the lab. Just click that cube if you're 35 plus, and you're in. Now, let's say I want to go to Peregrine Island, but there's no task force there. Well, yeah, there kind of is, actually. You want Terravolta 3, the third respec trial on blue side. Ta-da! Now you're in Peregrine. And near Supergroup Base, as well as all the Portal Core buildings, which is likely where your mission or whatever would be taking you to. So, this is for the Instance Mothership event. This is for the Cathedral Pain. You need not worry about those. And these are for the team events of Death from Below and Drowning in Blood. You could try to solo these two, but if you're looking for the badges, yeah, you want a team. These are for the Incarnate Trials. Don't bother trying to go to those off by yourself because it doesn't work. These all have a minimum requirement of 8 to 12 people minimum to start, depending on the trial. Let's go over to the Task Force tab. Okay, we have... let's go to Recluse, to the RWZ zone. Okay. Rickety War Zone, coming up. We are outside in RWZ. I could also chosen Tin Mage and would have appeared right over there where he's at. Or alternatively, Lady Grey Task Force. Ta-da! Let's say I have an urge to get to Granville real quick. Barracuda Strike Force. Or I could have chosen Lord Recluse Strike Force, but Barracuda puts you outside in Granville. Lord Recluse puts you inside in his tower. So it kind of depends on what you're looking at as far as your destination point. Or which Strike Force you might be looking to start. Okay, so there's that. Let's go to Independence Port. Ms. Liberty Task Force will do it. You could also choose the Penelope Yin Task Force a little further down the list. And away you go. Now then, let's see. If you have access to the Imperious Task Force and need to get to Cimarron in a hurry. Yes. There we are. Let's see here. Let's say I want to get to the Shadow Shard Zone. Well, depending which one, I mean, there is Firebase Zulu, there's the Chantry, there's the Cascade, and there's Storm Palace. Now, none of these will take you to the Storm Palace, but you can go to the Firebase Zulu zone, and there's an entrance to Storm Palace there. There is no task force that directly starts in Storm Palace. Fathom the Kind, you'll ultimately go there to finish that task force and run about half the missions that are in it. Yes, but it doesn't start there. None of these will start in Storm Palace, so you have to get there either through the portals in the Shadow Shard zones that take you to Storm Palace, or if your Supergroup base has a teleporter to Storm Palace, it'll take you there as well. About the only reason why you need to be in Storm Palace is if you're running Fathom the Kind, and while you're there for that last mission, pick up all 8 map badges while you're there, and then you don't have to go back to the Storm Palace ever again with that character. There's really no need. So, we'll choose Dr. Quarterfield, the longest task force in the game that is in so dire need of a redesign. The design ideas I have in mind for it would eliminate about 6 of the missions and streamline it quite nicely. But there you go. We're now in the first Shadow Shark zone, Firebase 2. And over here are the entrances to the other zones, so you could just use them to get to the other zones. Or you could LFG to the other zones, except for Storm Palace. You cannot warp via LFG to Storm Palace. Won't happen. Let's say I want to go to the other side, eastern area of Calliste Wharf. The new Zoe Task Force. And here we are. Let's say I want to get the Capo Diablo. Well, since they added Dr. Aeon. And what else do we have here? Where else can we jump to? Admiral Sutter will take you to the Independence Port. Mortimer Cal can take you to Sharkhead if you have this unlocked. You have to do a prerequisite red side alignment mission to get that. Katie Hannon must be unlocked by doing the 4th chapter of Croatoa Blue Side. Ernesto Hess, 4th chapter of Striga Blue Side. Or do the new red side Striga arcs that Homecoming is out of the game, and that'll unlock it as well because they made Striga into a co-op zone now. So we'll choose Hess. And there we are. Again, you have to have done the prerequisite story arcs to unlock this. And now we're at Striga. But there's another one you can choose that you don't need to unlock, just be at the prerequisite level. There it is. Moonfire Task Force. This will still take you to Striga, more in the center area. There you are. So Hess has to be unlocked, Katie Hannon has to be unlocked, and the Katie Hannon is the only way you could LFG into Croatoa. It must be unlocked by doing Croatoa Chapter 4 story arc. Also, you can LFG from within your supergroup base, so if you want to assemble a team there and then warp to a starting point to do a task force, you could do that. If you want to go to Brickstown, select Manticore. If you want to go to Founders Falls, select select Numina, rather, I should say. Ice Mistral is St. Marshall. Numina's the weekly, okay. There we are. Now we're in St. Marshall. Let's see, Citadel will take you to Talos. Operative Renault at Sharkhead. Yin is Independence Port. Silver Mantis is also Sharkhead. Hey, let's go to Skyway. Tarakos SF will also take you to the Capo Diablo zone. Okay. And if you want to go to Steel Canyon, pick any one of the positrons. If you pick one of these story arcs, it'll warp you to the contact in the zone for that story arc as well. And then Holiday, you just use that for launching your team of 4 to Summer Blockbuster. You can't go in there solo, so don't bother trying it. Alright, so the LFG, though. You cannot LFG to any of the PvP zones. So that's out. If you want quick access to PvP zones, go to Pocket D, or Kings Row, or Skyway. If you are trying to get to the Praetorian zones, LFG will not work. There's no event you can warp to via LFG, so that won't work either. Also the Storm Palace, you cannot warp there at all through LFG. Katie Hannon and Ernesto Hess and the Cavern of Transcendence and the Mortimer Calstrike Forest must all be unlocked, along with Labyrinth of Fog and the ITF. Okay, so now you've learned how to do the LFG system. Again, it's WAI, and some zone content must be unlocked, such as Cavern of Transcendence, Katie Hannon, Ernesto Hess, the Labyrinth, ITF. Those are just examples, but you gotta unlock. Also the Mort Calstrike Force red side. And again, cannot warp to PvP with this. And you cannot warp to Pretoria, and you cannot warp to the Storm Palace. Alright, well, that's going to be a cut and a print and a wrap on this one. Do hope you enjoyed, as always. So get out there and have fun playing the game. And as always, feel free to turn your computer off for a while and go outside and play. I'll see you on the next one.